Well, great grandpa here, and it's time to put another set of new batteries in the 310C John Deere Back-Hoe. I put a new set in, caught them on sale. They were turned out to be they were marine batteries, and one of them I think is bad because it for some reason only reads like 9 volts. I don't know if I've got a bad wire to the charger. I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, I went back and bought a new set of regular, big size, large batteries. $408 total for the pair. Yeah, $408 total for the 2 batteries. And I had a trade in, so there's no core charge. And these should be pretty good batteries. At least I hope they are. So we're gonna put them in. Now, when I was putting the other ones in, I actually pulled a muscle in my side, lifting them over that center bolts up there. So this time I'm going to use the tractor. I'm not going to do that again because that took a while to get well. 2 or 3 weeks it hurt. Now I just turned 80 this summer, and that was after I had my birthday. I did that. Now you're going to see here, this right there went in wrong. That's one of the new batteries, and it turns out it's okay. But I pulled the muscle. So anyway, I'm using I got the fork attachment on the Kubota tractor to put them in with, and we're going to get them all lined out here and get them in. And this is a pretty nice set of batteries, actually. I'm pretty proud of them. Took a lot of money. $400 is not insignificant when you're on Social Security. I'll tell you right now, it's a lot of money. So anyhow, I'm going to put these batteries in, and we're going to put some new battery cables on. And that's you can see where I'm standing there, and I'm not all that tall. And I lifted that back one up, and it got hung, and I lifted it again and pulled a side muscle, and that hurt, and it actually did. So anyway, we're going to make some new cables here, and I've got my cable cutters and my Burndy Crimper, which is really, really old, and they're still making them, and they cost quite a bit of money. I've had this one forever, bought it at a garage sale years ago. So here we're going to get the cables off, get them measured. I found some welding cable, pretty good welding cable, and we're going to use it. And it's been inside in storage, and it's just never did use it. There's my crimper and my cutter. Those cutters there, right there, they're a couple $100 now, and they're well worth it when you're cutting this kind of stuff because it makes a smooth cut. And there's our crimpers, and there's our ends, and those crimpers right there, they're selling now for about $900. And why, you may ask, would you pay $900 for a crimper? Well, those end terminals, I just looked them up. Those right there specifically, which is okay, this is the Burndy BU or Burndy MY29-3 crimper. And see the numbers stamped in up there, which shows that's my number when I worked for Fisher Body. Went into an apprenticeship program, which was 1970s. So that shows that I did have this tool in my possession in the 1970s. So it's an electrical crimper, and with pressure, and you'll see me use it in this video. So this thing sells for about $900, $950. And the cutters that you see there, they're selling for around $200. So I got this at a garage sale, I remember, and wasn't even sure what it was for. But the lady's husband had passed and she was selling it. So anyway, that's what this. Okay, so anyhow, those terminals right there, I just looked them up on Amazon, and those are $14 a piece. And that's for a 1/aught. I'll hold up the box here after a while, and you'll see that's Thomas and Betts. And if you look up a terminal in for a 4/aught welding cable, they are now $26 a piece for one. I can't believe that. I've had these for ages. These are back when I used to work on forklifts, and we did electric forklifts, and we did a lot of cable repair. And so I've got a lot of stuff left over from those days. But back then they was about $2 a piece, and everything's so expensive now. But anyway, when you're using putting on an end that's anywhere from $10 or $15 up to $25 a piece, you want a crimper that will crimp them correctly. And that's what that one there does. Now, there's also some really good hydraulic crimpers. I've got one somewhere, but this one is so handy, the one I got here. So anyway, here's the positive cable, and you can see where it was sparking down in there, rubbed on something. And so we're gonna replace it, replace the positive cables. And where are we going to go to now? We're going to go to the starter. Okay, we're going to get the cable off of the starter and then pull it through, and then pull a new piece of red cable there. And you can see from that end that's on it on the right that was some old welding cable that basically never did get used. But there is the that is how you use this thing. You just keep screwing that end down a little bit, and then it finally gets to where you can't hold it again. But these terminals are specifically made to not loosen up. They are they will hold if you don't try to hang on them like from the ceiling or something. Now here I've took the guard plate off. I was checking out the pump, the hydraulic pump, and so I'm going to rethread those where the guard goes over the radiator. That there's a guard goes over there, and so here is this stuff. Here is it's a liquid rubber, and it's really good. The trick of all this stuff is to keep the air out of the copper wire so you don't get oxide. If you keep that air out, then that will last for years and years, and you won't get that green stuff in there. That green stuff, that green corrosion, is what lets your electricity not flow correctly. So you put this stuff on, a little bit of tape, keep that air out, and you've done 90% of what you need to do to make it work. Just like yay, right there. That's all you need right there. That will do it. So we're going to get the positive off, and then we're going to go back around and we're going to check the starter, and you'll see me do that. And whenever you pull a cable off of the starter, which is very rare, before you put the cable back on, tighten up the nut that's holding in the terminal. They almost always come a little bit loose. Now, you won't get it but about a quarter turn or maybe a half a turn. But there's a big nut there that holds that terminal that you put your cable on. And it'll be against the starter, and just tighten it up a little bit. Because invariably, you can tighten it up anywhere from an eighth to a half a turn, depending on how old the unit is. You'll see it here. You can't see the nut there. Right now it's behind the cable. The nut is. It's not that nut. It's the one behind that cable. And you want to tighten it up back there just a little bit. Now, of course, since I've told you that, I forgot to do it and had to go back in and take it off and tighten it up. So do as I say, not as I do. Anyway, here we're going to figure out a way to pull the cable through without a whole lot of problem. And that's just simply a piece of plastic water conduit. And we're going to tape this to that, then just yank it through, then cut it to the length we need. And you can see it's pretty simple, worked out. There we're back around, and I put it on, taking it off again here. Now there's the nut right there. You tighten that nut up maybe an eighth to a half a turn, tighten that terminal up, then put the cable back, then put the cable on. That way you don't get any sparks, you get a good connection. But here we were able to use red for positive and black for negative, because I happen to have both color welding cable that I hadn't used that was spare. So it makes it a little better if you got the right color, but you can always put some tape on it. It's not doesn't hurt anything. But now this is pretty tough, and I couldn't pull that off. I had to get a pair of pliers to break that loose. That was fairly old, but that is copper. That's not aluminum. That is copper, and it is expensive if you buy it. But there's the Thomas and Betts 1-0 bolt, 2-0 CU, and there's some battery terminals. I wound up using some different ones, but those aren't bad. The trouble of it was, and there's the terminal. That sucker there is $14.95 for one on Amazon. Believe it or not, I could not believe it when I looked it up. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Anyway, those battery terminals weren't correct for these batteries, so I wound up buying some different ones. But that's how you crimp that. Just tighten it down a little bit. You'll finally get it where you can't push it down anymore, and that's where it's tight enough. Right there. That's one. Yeah, one more. And that it just they won't come loose. Put the old red goop on them and some tape over that, and this stuff is. There's so much stuff out now that you can buy that you had to order back 15, 20 years ago. This is really good stuff. It turns to rubber in about 30 minutes. So you throw a little, and that tape there is really good tape, good electrical tape. Doesn't get hard, doesn't get brittle. I like to do at least 3 or 4 turns, but supposedly a couple's enough. But I don't know. It just seems like the tape goes bad before I get it used up anyway. So anyhow, there we are. We're set up. We're going to throw our top on. We're going to give it a shot. And thanks for watching. Be safe out there.